There is a reception desk in the corridor on the left side of the Chumon gate, where you can pay your entrance fee and go inside. This is Caede, your guide. We could see the Daibutsu-den, the Great Buddha Hall, from the Chumon gate as well, but you can really see how big it is when you get closer. Of course, pictures taken from the front is beautiful, but I like the vantage point from the corridor, looking at it from the slight angle. What do you think? At 57.5 meters wide, 50.5 meters deep, and 49.1 meters high. The Daibutsu-den is the largest wooden structure in the world. The first Daibutsu-den, built in 752 by the order of Emperor Shomu, was even 30 meters wider than the current one. This means that the hall was roughly as wide as the end of the corridors on both sides. Wow! It's impressively big even now! Unfortunately, the Daibutsu-den burned down twice, in 1180 and 1567, and the current building was built in 1709. Of course, when the Daibutsu-den burned down, the Great Buddha inside also burned down. In the fire of 1567, the head of the Great Buddha was burnt off, and the headless Buddha was exposed to the elements until the hall's rebuilding in 1709. The reason why the Daibutsu-den was now rebuilt for such a long time was because the shogunate did not have enough money. It takes a lot of money to build such a large building. However, a monk named Caede, who was distressed at the sight of the Great Buddha sitting in the rain, went on a nationwide fundraising trip and raised what would now be 1 billion yen. The fifth shogun Tsunayoshi was so impressed by this hard work that he decided to indeed rebuild the temple and ordered all the feudal lords in the country to raise an additional 5 billion yen, and the shogunate added another 5 billion yen. Even so, the amount was still not enough, so Caede continued his journey to raise funds. It is reported that the rebuilding cost about 12 billion yen. Even so, due to the lack of funds and also the lack of wood, it was smaller than the original Daibutsu-den. It was especially difficult to find enough large trees to support the heavy roof, and some of the wood had to be transported from Miyazaki Prefecture, which took 8 months. Let's take a look at the heavy roof. You see the 2 golden ornaments on both sides? These are called shibi and are said to be the old form of shachi that are usually found on the roof of castles. They have a role to protect buildings from fire. Each shibi weighs 1.8 tons with a body of 2.5 meters long, about the same length as the width of the approach to the Daibutsu-den. That's 2 ornaments that are about the same weight as a Mercedes E-Class sitting on the roof. They are covered with 10,400 sheets of gold leaf, which measured 14 square centimeters each. In total, about 780 grams of gold leaf was used. Looking at the roof, you would think it was a two-story building, but the lower roof is actually just for decoration, and on the inside, it is a one-story building. When it was rebuilt in 1709, 130,000 tiles were used, and it weighed 3,020 tons. I can't even imagine how heavy it was. But the roof was only supported by wood, and it was so heavy that over time the building became distorted. So, starting in 1903, they took 11 years to repair the building. This is called the Great Repair of the Meiji era. Anyway, they needed to do something about the weight of the roof. So the distance between tiles was widened, and the number of tiles was reduced from 130,000 to 110,000. And since they couldn't find enough large pieces of wood like they did in the Edo period, they decided to put in steel frames to support the parts we can't see. It is said to have cost about 800 million yen to repair. However, because the distance between the tiles was widened to the maximum extent, the roof started leaking badly. So starting in 1974, they took 6 years for the great repair of the Showa era. The roof has a surface of 7,900 square meters, which is bigger than the soccer field. So just replacing the tiles is a big job. This time, the roof tiles were made lighter and overlapped each other, and this repair cost 3.7 billion yen. It must be very difficult to hand down such a large wooden building to future generations. There is a window underneath the decorative roof that's called karahafu in the middle of the Daibutsu-den, right? In the past, the public was not allowed to enter the Daibutsu-den to see the great Buddha. So this window was open to show the face of the great Buddha. That's just where the face of the great Buddha is. So you can really see how big he is from here, right? Currently, this window is only opened on January 1st for New Year's Day and August 13th to 15th for Obon. If you approach the building and look up, can you see a bit of red color under the roof? Actually, it is said that this Daibutsu-den may have been painted red in the past. There is still a little bit of that paint left. Such a large building painted in red must have looked very flamboyant. I can't wait to see the great Buddha. But before we get there, you should definitely take a closer look at something in front of the Daibutsu-den that many people just pass by. It is the Kondo Hakkaku Todo, or gilt bronze octagonal lantern. It is the only object in the Todaiji that has been around since the temple was built, and it is designated as a national treasure. It is amazing that a lantern made in 752 is still here today. This means that it has been the entire history of the Todaiji. An image of Bodhisattva holding musical instrument to offer music to the great Buddha is carved on the lantern, It has been exposed to the wind and rain for more than 1,200 years, so it has this color now. But when it was made, it was covered with gold leaf and was a golden lantern. That's why the lantern is called gilded bronze. The bodhisattva have kind faces, don't they? There is a large wooden statue on the right side of the Daibutsu-den. It is called Binzuru-san, and it is believed to cure pains and illness if you stroke him on the body area that you are having pain in. It is said that he was one of Buddha's disciples, but that he was sent out of the building to punish him for his excessive playfulness and in order to cure suffered people. His legs are shiny because everyone is stroking them. This statue was built in 1840. Now let's finally go inside the Daibutsu-den, the great Buddha Hall.